Today I will be discussing linear and non-linear a topic, and next thing is degrees of freedom, the second one, and determinate and indeterminate structure. Let us get into the topic. First one, linear analysis. A linear relation holds between the applied force and displacement. So this keep on increase the force, the displacement will be keep on increasing. So this is known as linear analysis. Whereas in case of non-linear analysis, if you apply the force, the displacement will be high. So if you apply 1 kilonewton and if you are keep on increasing your load, and after a certain period, if you apply 1 kilonewton increase of force, the displacement will be 5 units. So 5 mm or 5 centimeter of displacement might be for each a single unit of force, a single displacement. If it is there, then the structure is performing linearly, and if it is not in the case, then it is known as non-linear analysis. Okay. In practice, this is applicable to the structural problems where stresses remain in the linear elastic range of the used material. So all the material have the tendency. Say for example, if this is an object, if the object is stressed, after the release of the force, the object gets its shape and it regains its position. Hence, this is called okay. Next, the analysis is a convenient approximation that is often adequate for a design purpose. So, for majority of the design which you are going in this curriculum, you will be dealing with linear analysis. So, under this linear analysis, all the structural analysis problem will be dealt in the 5 modules, and if you are going through a design subject, it may be concrete design or steel design, those design are on linear analysis, linear behavior of the material. Okay. Next thing is a first estimate. The linear static analysis is often used prior to performing full non-linear analysis. So if you want to do non-linear analysis, first you have to finish the linear analysis, then proceed with the non-linear analysis. Then you know the difference between the behavior of the object. Okay. Next, when understanding the non-linear analysis, a non-linear analysis is an analysis where a non-linear relation holds between applied force and displacement. Whereas in the previous case, a linear relation holds, whereas in non-linear analysis, a non-linear relation holds between the force and displacement. Both depends upon the two parameters. They are force and displacement. Okay, here you can see a picture. An object is being loaded, and due to this load, what happens? This material deforms, and the deform is not recovered when the object is released. So this is the case of non-linear analysis. If you are removing the load and the object does not recover its shape, its position, then it is called non-linear behavior. Non-linear effect can originate from geometric non-linearity, that is large deformation. So in non-linearity, there are two major non-linear cases. They are geometric non-linearity and material non-linearity. So when the dimension of the object gets altered, then it is called geometric non-linearity. It may be its length, breadth or width. Anything can deviate. Whereas in the material non-linearity, the material does not behave in elastic state. So it moves to elastoplastic or plastic state. So that is known as uh, non-linearity in terms of material. Okay. A different solving strategy is required for non-linear analysis, and therefore a different approach has to be done for solving this. So, okay, where this non-linearity is applied apart from civil engineering, say for example forging or stamping, then so if you want to make a stamp and you can see rubber stamps, so these rubbers are being the letters are made, so the rubber is being stressed and it is stressed beyond its linear characteristics, then it takes a new shape and size. So due to that you can make stamp pad and crash analysis. So these crash analysis are made for vehicles and analysis of rubber components such as tires or engine mounts. So these are the places where non-linear analysis is done apart from civil engineering. In civil engineering, most of the cases needs linear analysis. Okay. Further understanding this linear and non-linear concept, if you apply some force in an object and if you keep on increasing the force, the displacement is also increased. So both have a same ratio. So then it is known as linear spring. Here the stiffness is constant. Okay. Whereas if you apply a force in an object and for each and every application of force, the deformation changes. Say for example, if you need 5 kilonewton of force here to displace 10 mm. So then if you increase 7 kilonewton and the displacement increases to 25 units. So this might be the case. So the force and displacement are not in a single ratio. So it differs. So that is known as non-linear spring or non-linear behavior. Okay. So it is not a separate material. Each and every material behaves linearly and non-linearly due to the force. Let us take an example. So this is the behavior of a mild steel and you can see the 0 by 0 range. So at a certain range, this material is under linear behavior. The stress and strain are the stress strain ratio are equal. Here you will be having Young's modulus of the material. Okay, after a certain period, it crosses the yield limit. So after that, the dimension is being changed. So non-recoverable dimensional change happens. So here you can see the geometric non-linearity is a certain coordinate in the behavior. You can see up to the yield limit, the geometric non-linearity is covered, and after the yield limit, and you can see non-linearity in material happens. So during this non-linearity, if you are not increasing the force, so due to the same force alone, there will be deflection. No need of further increasing a force. For the same force, the material gets deformed. So this is the material non-linearity. So this is elastoplastic stage of the material, and for different materials this linear and non-linear behavior changes. Say for example, this is a wood material. The wood material behaves linearly, and after linearity, after linear behavior, the non-linearity style is different for each and every material. This is the non-linear behavior for concrete and this is for steel. So you can see there is a ductile behavior. So even though the force are being taken here, they are not broken. So this behavior, this ductile behavior gives the steel a better option when comparing the concrete and wood. And if you look into the concrete after the yield point and before the breaking point, we cannot see. So this is why when a concrete breaks, it breaks suddenly. We don't have any hint of breaking. After a crack, it may suddenly break. But in the case of steel, before breaking, you can see the elongation, you can see the failure mode so that you have some time to prepare yourself. So this is the advantage of steel. Okay, for the wood, the non-linear behavior is different. For each and every material, the linear and non-linear behavior changes. So this we have to understand. This is not only for concrete, steel. This is for copper, aluminum, whatever might be the material, their behavior under a force will change. So this has to be identified before you are analyzing a structure. Why we are studying here? You are going to do a structural analysis, and if you are analyzing that, you should know that for which material you are analyzing. So this has to be understood, and majority of the cases for we need linear portion. So this linear portion, you can make simple equations, mathematical equations, and by that equation you can solve a number of problems and you can create many engineering structures and components. And further dealing with linear and non-linear, so further we have stages, that is linear elastic. It is a stage where if you stress the material comes to the original position without geometric nonlinearity and material nonlinearity. In certain cases, the behavior seems to be linear, but it might cross the elastic stage. So, in that cases, it is known as linear inelastic cases. See, the object is at a point, and after the application of the load to certain level, it does not comes to its original position. It goes to a new position, so that it is called inelastic. If it is in the case of elastic, it will come to its original position. Okay, so this is another case which is non-linear inelastic, that is due to the load and deformation, the it the ratio changes for constant application of load, and after releasing the load it goes to the new position. So this is known as non-linear inelastic behavior. So the final classification is non-linear elastic. So for a rubber, this case holds well. Due to the load, due to the constant increase of the load, the elongation will be high. For a single unit of force, there may be double or 3 times deflection. So after the release of that force, it comes to its original position. So the behavior might be non-linear, but it is under elastic stage. So there are different materials which follows this classification. Okay, so these are some notes in materials obeying Hooke's law. The load deformation relationship is linear. So wherever you are assuming a structure obeys Hooke's law, then it is automatically said that the structure is linear. linearly behave. behave. In a system of a structural components are linear function of the applied load or stress, then we have a linear structure or a structure exhibit linear behavior. So if you need in terms of definition, you can take the second point as the definition for linear behavior. Okay, throughout the subject you will be dealing all the structural analysis, either it can be truss or arches, cable or beams. You will be considering the linear behavior of structures and then you proceed your analysis. So the analysis of determinate structure, you are doing analysis for determinate structure. Under that, your cases for analysis will be linear alone. So you are not going to do non-linear analysis in your subject. Okay, next concept is degrees of freedom. Okay, as a structural engineer or a civil engineer, your structure or your building, if you are constructing, it should not deform, it should not deflect more than certain limits. So if you are standing in a building and if the building is deflecting to a certain level, you feel that and you fear that my building is not, you will not feel the safety. That is why all the structures should be stable and it should not deflect, and the human should not observe these deflection. If they are observing, they feel insecure in your building. So that is why while analyzing, we have to make a building plan and we have to analyze that, and after the analysis, if you are finding the structure displaces to 10 centimeter, then you have to redesign your structure and then you have to analyze. Why? Because to have that much deflection, Indian Standard Code has some deflection criteria, span divided by 350. So span in terms of mm. Make your structure that they should feel secure in your building. Okay, what is the relation between the displacement or movement into degrees of freedom? So a degree of freedom in definition, it denotes that the number of independent restraints necessary to determine the geometric stability of a member or of a frame as a whole relative to some of the reference member or the system coordinates. Each coordinate may be looked upon as a restraint which moves one degree of freedom from the member or frame under consideration. Okay. Say for example, if you have an object, this object can be moved in 3 dimensions. I can pull this object in Z direction, or I can pull this object in X direction, or it can be moved in Y direction. So these are the 3 possibilities of deforming. So imagine that this is your structure, your structure can move only in these 3 directions. So this is known as degree of freedom. All the objects have 3 degree of freedom in translation. So this is known as in a linear movement. So it can move linearly in 3 dimensions. Okay. Also, it can move in 3 rotational directions. So you can rotate this object along the x-axis in this direction, or you can rotate your object in z-axis, or you can rotate your object in y-axis. So this, all the 3 axes have the rotation. So you have 3 translational displacement and 3 rotational displacement. So This is explained here. The object can be moved in up and down, or the object can move in forward and backward, or the object can move in right and left. Also, it can move in 3 rotational axes, that is in your direction, it can roll, or it can pitch. So these are the technical words which is used. So this is known as degree of freedom. Next concept is determinate and indeterminate structures. Yes, there is a relationship between degree of freedom and determinate and indeterminate structures. So degree of freedom is the base for the remaining things. See, there is a beam here, and this beam is hinged at one end and a roller support is provided at the other end. So a hinged end has two reactions, that is, it is restrained in vertical and horizontal point. So hence it is written as statically determinate. Why it is statically determinate? You have three restraints, that is vertical, horizontal at hinged end and one vertical restraint at the roller end. So totally you have three restraints. So what do you mean by a determinate structure is equilibrium conditions are fully adequate to analyze the structure. So what are all the equilibrium conditions? Sum of f of x equal to 0, sum of f of y equal to 0, sum of f of z equal to 0. So this is what I have mentioned earlier. If your object is able for movement in x, y and z direction, and also it does not rotate in 3 axes, then your object is stable. So that is why the degree of freedom and determinate and indeterminate structure has a relationship. If this 3 equation is enough for the structure to analyze, then the structure is called determinate structures. That is, sum of all horizontal forces in x direction is equal to 0, sum of forces in y direction equal to 0 and sum of forces in z direction equal to 0. These three are translational forces and these three are moment force. Okay. So by using this equation, if you can solve any structure, then it is known as a determinate structure. If condition of equilibrium are not adequate to fully analyze the structure, if this is the case, then it is known as indeterminate structure. Say for example, you are having 3 set of equations. See, this is one set, 2 and 3. So you will be having 3 set of equations and you are having 3 restraints, that is 1, 2 and 3. So if the number of restraints equals the equilibrium equation, then it is known as statically determinate structure. So in terms of, okay, so then next criteria is bending moment shear force at any section is independent of material property of the structure. If your structure is determinate structure, then bending moment and shear force at any section is independent of material property. So in case of indeterminate structure, the bending moment and shear force depends upon material property. If you change any material, then the shear force and bending moment does change. Say for example, if you are finding bending moment and shear force for this indeterminate beam. So how this is known as indeterminate? See, this is a fixed end. So for a fixed end, you have 3 reactions. So there are 3 support conditions. One is roller and second one is hinged and third one is fixed. So the roller support have one restraint. So it can support in only one direction, that is vertical. For a hinged end, it can support, it can restrain two forces, that is vertical and horizontal. So that is why it is known as a hinged support. For a fixed support, it can take the loads or it can restrain vertical loads, horizontal loads, also the moment. So that is why it is known as the fixed end. So for a fixed end, you have three restraints, that is three reactions, and here you have a roller support and another roller support. So you are having 1 plus 1, 2. So totally you are having 5 number of reactions. So the number of equilibrium equation is 3. If you subtract 5 minus 3, you will be having 2. So there are indeterminacy in this structure. So the degree of indeterminacy is 2. So that is why this structure is known as indeterminate structure, whereas this structure is known as determinate structure. How? There are total number of reactions are 3, 1, 2 and 3, and number of equilibrium equations is 3. So 3 minus 3 will be 0. Hence this is a statically determinate structure. So if you analyze this structure for a steel material, you cannot take the bending moment and shear force for a concrete material. If the material is changed, then the bending moment and shear force also change. Whereas for a statically determinate structure, the bending moment and shear force are same, whatever might be the material. You can place a steel material, and if you change the material into a copper, then the same bending moment and shear force will be there. So this is the difference between determinate and indeterminate in case of bending moment and shear force. Okay, the bending moment or shear force at any section is independent of cross section or moment of inertia. So its cross section, that is this is the length term, and breadth and width is there, and the determinate structure does not depend on cross section or moment of inertia, but the indeterminate structure depends on cross section and moment of inertia. Okay, then the temperature variation do not cause stresses. Why? Because you will be having a roller support here, so that during any temperature changes, this roller allows the structure to move at one direction. Whereas in case of indeterminate structure, you have a fixed connection, it does not allow at one end to displace. So here you will be having the temperature stresses, and no stresses are caused due to lack of fit. If your fittings are lagging in connection, say for example if you are making in a bolt or rivet, so there might be lack of fit. This does not cause any major stresses, whereas in case of indeterminate structure, the stresses caused due to lack of fit. So if the connections are not perfect, then it creates secondary stresses, and extra conditions like compatibility of displacement are not required to analyze the structure. So I already said that equilibrium equation and compatibility equation are the two types. Here in case of determinate structure, the compatibility case are not required to be analyzed, whereas in indeterminate structure, the compatibility of displacement are required to be analyzed along with the equilibrium equations. So these are the major differences between determinate and indeterminate structure. Okay, so this is another case. See, you have a roller support. If a circle is provided in the support, then it is called a roller support. So the roller support have one reaction, and here you have a hinged support. So hinged support has two reactions. So totally 1, 2 and 3. Number of equilibrium equation is 3. and you have total number of reaction is 3. So hence this is known as statically determinate structure. Okay, whereas in this case, this beam is being connected with fixed joint at both the sides. So at fixed joint you will be having 3 reactions. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So you are having 6 reactions. Hence it is known as statically indeterminate structure. And this is the difference between determinate and indeterminate structures. And also these are further examples to understand well. These are all a truss, a steel truss where it is supported by two kind of support. One is hinged and another one is roller. For hinged you have 2 number of reaction, and for roller you have 1 number of reaction. So this is a determinate structure. So you don't need to consider the load. So these are all loads. Determinate and indeterminate structure only depends on the support condition. So here the loads are omitted. Only the support conditions are considered. So whatever might be the load in a frame. See, there are 4 loads here. You don't need to consider loads and all. What are the supports here? So the support is fixed. So here the another support is also fixed. So for a fixed structure, you will be having 3 reactions. So 3 plus 3 will be 6 reactions. So total number of equilibrium equation is 3. So 6 minus 3 is 3. So this is a statically indeterminate structure for 3 degree. Okay. So another example is given here. One end is fixed and other end you have roller. So in fixed end you have 3 reaction and in roller end you have 1 reaction. So 3 plus 1 is 4. 4 minus 3, that is number of equilibrium equation, you will be having 1. So total 1 number of indeterminacy. So this is indeterminate structure 1A. So this structure can be written in this terms also. So this is 1 degree of indeterminacy, and this another structure you can find straight away. You can look into the free body diagram. For a fixed end you will be having 3 reaction, and for another fixed end you will be having 3 reaction. So 3 plus 3, 6 reaction. 6 minus 3 equal to 3. So this is indeterminate structure. Also for another truss structure is given. So this is hinged and this is roller. So at hinged end you have 2 reaction, at roller end you have 1 reaction. Hence it is 3 plus 2 plus 1 is 3. So number of equilibrium equation is 3. If you subtract 3 minus 3, it will be 0. If it is 0, then your structure is statically determinate. So yes. So these are the important points I would like to discuss with you. So with this understanding, you can analyze many number of structures. So why these concepts are required? If a structure can be moved or not, if it is restrained or not, you should be analytically known so that you can design your building. You can build your structure. So these 3 concepts will help you in types of different forms of structure. I hope you enjoyed this session. Happy learning. See you again.